Wife sends an intimate picture to a group chat by mistake and reveals her affair to her husband. Part 2. Mark drove in silence, the hum of the road blending with the emotions in his head. The truth had been laid bare in that cheap motel room, and now the pieces of his life felt scattered. The betrayal cut deeper than he ever imagined it could. When he got home, the house was quiet. He sat at the dining room table, staring at nothing in particular, his mind replaying the last hour over and over again. Mark stayed at the table until Lisa came home with Sophie. They had a quick dinner, and after Sophie went to her room, Lisa approached Mark. She sat across from him at the table, her face pale and strained. "I messed up. I know that. I didn't mean for it to get this far. It was just so nice to talk to someone. So exciting. I lost myself. I am so very sorry." Mark rubbed his face with his hands, trying to find the right words. "That doesn't change what happened," Mark said, staring at her. "You betrayed me. How am I ever supposed to look at you the same way again?" Tears filled Lisa's eyes again. "I was lonely, Mark. I've been so lonely for so long. It's like we're living separate lives, like we're just going through the motions. I wasn't happy, and I didn't know how to tell you." Mark's frustration flared, closely followed by anger. "So you just ran off with someone else? You didn't think to talk to me? We've been together for 16 years, Lisa. You could have come to me. We could have worked on things." Lisa shook her head. "I was scared. I didn't know how to fix us." And then Derek. He was there, and I felt wanted again. I felt alive. Mark's hands gripped the edge of the table. "He was there? He was there? That's your argument? Do you even hear yourself?" The silence between them stretched out, heavy and suffocating. Mark looked down at the table, his mind spinning in 1,000 different directions. He loved her. He couldn't deny that. But could they ever rebuild what had been destroyed? "I don't know if I can ever trust you again," Mark said quietly, his voice breaking. "This isn't something that just goes away." A flicker of hope appeared in Lisa's eyes. "I'll do anything, Mark. I'll go to therapy. We can go to counseling. I'll stop seeing Derek. Please, just give me another chance." "I need time to think," Mark said, his voice distant. Lisa didn't respond. She simply nodded, knowing that there was nothing she could say to fix things right now. Mark sat on the back porch, staring out into the empty yard, the quiet of the night doing little to calm the storm brewing inside him. It had been a week since he had discovered Lisa's affair. He hadn't slept in their bed since that night and had moved into the guest room. Every time he thought about her and Derek, something dark and bitter twisted in his gut. He couldn't shake the images from his mind. The lies, the betrayal, all those moments she had smiled at him while sneaking around with another man. The silence in the house was suffocating. Lisa had tried to talk to him, to apologize again, but every time she opened her mouth, all he could see was her with Derek, sitting on that motel bed. Her words were meaningless now. He didn't care about her excuses anymore, and he certainly didn't care about her guilt. His love for her was buried under the weight of something else, anger, betrayal, and a thirst for revenge. He wasn't going to forgive her. He wasn't going to let this go. She had ruined everything. Their marriage, their life, their family. And Mark wasn't the kind of man who could just move on from that. Lisa came out onto the porch, her arms wrapped around herself, clearly uncomfortable with the tension that hung in the air. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice shaky, as if she knew he was on the edge of something. Mark didn't look at her. "What's there to talk about?" "I can't live like this, Mark," she said, stepping closer. "This limbo, this silence, it's killing me. I know I hurt you, but we have to try and move past it. For Sophie. For us." Mark finally looked at her, his gaze cold and unforgiving. "Move past it? You want me to forget that you've been sneaking around with some other guy for months? You expect me to just act like everything's fine?" Lisa's face crumpled. but she tried to hold herself together. I don't expect it to be easy, but we can fix this. I know we can. He shook his head, his jaw clenched. No, we can't fix this, Lisa. I'm done. Her eyes widened in panic. You don't mean that. We can go to therapy. We can talk to someone. Please, Mark, I'm willing to do anything. I'm begging you. Mark stood up slowly, towering over her. You think I'm going to let you get away with this? You think a few sessions of therapy will erase what you did? No, Lisa. You're going to regret everything. A flicker of fear crossed her face, but she tried to maintain her composure. I know I messed up, but you don't have to do this. I'm sorry, Mark. I'll do whatever it takes. Sorry doesn't cut it, he said, his voice low and dangerous. You threw our life away for some fling with a guy who doesn't even care about you? You humiliated me, and now you want to play the victim? No, Lisa. I'm going to make sure you feel what I've felt. Her eyes widened as she realized what he was implying. Mark, you don't mean that. Oh, I do, he said, his lips curling into a bitter smile. You think I'm just going to let you walk away from this with an apology? You're going to lose everything. Lisa's breath hitched. What are you going to do? Mark took a step closer to her, his eyes dark. You'll find out soon enough. I've already started. She backed up, fear creeping into her expression. What have you done? Mark laughed, a cold, hollow sound. Let's just say I've been gathering some evidence. I made a few calls today to a lawyer. Turns out, adultery doesn't look good in divorce proceedings. I'm going to make sure Sophie stays with me. You'll be lucky to see her on weekends. Her face went pale. You can't do that. You can't take Sophie away from me. You took away the life we built, Mark said, his voice rising with anger. I don't owe you anything, and you sure as hell don't deserve to raise our daughter after what you did. I've got enough to paint you as the cheating wife who abandoned her family for some other man. Good luck explaining that to a judge. Tears filled her eyes, but Mark felt no sympathy. Please, Mark, don't take Sophie away from me. I made a mistake, but I'm still her mother. Yeah, you're her mother, he said, his tone sharp and cutting. But you're not the wife I thought I married, and you're not the woman I'm going to let raise her anymore. You gave up that right when you walked into that motel room. Lisa broke down, sobbing, but Mark just stood there, watching her crumble. He had spent the past week thinking about his options, and he had decided that forgiveness wasn't one of them. This was about taking back control, about making sure she understood the consequences of what she had done. As Lisa continued to cry, Mark turned and walked back into the house, leaving her on the porch, broken and terrified of what he would do next. Over the next few days, Mark made sure to follow through on his plan. He consulted with his lawyer, gathering everything he needed to build his case. He found the messages between Lisa and Derek, dug up the hotel receipts, and compiled a damning case of her infidelity. He knew it would destroy her in court, and he didn't care. She had destroyed him first. He also made sure to reach out to Sophie's school and ballet studio, subtly sowing seeds of doubt about Lisa's reliability as a parent. He wasn't going to leave any stone unturned in his pursuit of revenge. The perfect wife, the perfect mother Lisa, thrown it all away for a fling, and now she would lose it all. One evening, Lisa tried to confront him again, begging him to stop. You're tearing our family apart, Mark. I know I hurt you, but this is going too far. You're going to ruin Sophie's life. Mark met her gaze, his expression ice cold. No, Lisa. You're the one who ruined everything. I'm just making sure you pay for it. He left her standing in the kitchen, sobbing once again, as he walked out the door. There was no going back now. Mark had once been a kind, understanding man, but betrayal had turned him into something else, something darker. And as far as he was concerned, Lisa was about to experience the full extent of the consequences she had unleashed. She had chosen to betray him, and now he would take everything. What do you think? Did Mark take it too far? Share your thoughts in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to our channel, and if you haven't yet, go ahead and watch the first part to learn how Lisa betrayed Mark. Bye.